Welcome back, listeners, to The Lonely Star. We often say that the truth is stranger than fiction.
Oh, absolutely.
But today's deep dive might just take the cake. We're heading to Egypt.
The land of pharaohs and pyramids.
Exactly. But we're not just talking about ancient tombs and hieroglyphics. This goes way beyond that.
Deeper, you might say.
Much deeper.
Yeah.
According to our research, there's a whole lot more to the Great Pyramid of Giza than we ever thought possible. And trust me, some of this stuff, it's going to sound unbelievable.
Yeah, prepare to have your minds blown.
So, what do we got on the table today?
Well, first off, there's this buzz about a recent press conference, claims of something massive hidden beneath the pyramid. Then you've got those alternative theories about what the pyramids were actually used for. Some pretty wild ideas out there.
Energy devices.
Oh, yeah, that's one of them. And to make things even more interesting, there are these strange findings from other ancient Egyptian sites that kind of throw a wrench into everything we thought we knew.
So, where do we even start?
I think the best place to begin is with this alleged massive structure. It all started around mid-March with a team led by, you guessed it, Filippo Beyond.
Oh, beyond. He's always at the center of these fascinating yet controversial discoveries.
Right. He never shies away from pushing the boundaries. So this time, his team claims to have found something absolutely incredible.
Like, what? Lay it on us.
They're talking about a massive structure extending 2 kilometers.
Yes.
2 kilometers deep beneath the Giza pyramid.
On 2 kilometers.
Yeah. It's practically unfathomable. I mean, think about the scale of that. It completely changes our perspective on what's hidden beneath the surface.
It's like something out of a science fiction movie. What kind of technology did they use to find something that deep? I mean, that's not your average shovel and brush archaeology.
Definitely not. They're talking about this cutting-edge technology called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. And get this, it was developed by, wait for it, Beyond himself, along with a guy named Card Manga.
Those two are always pushing the envelope. So how does this radar tomography thing work?
Well, in simple terms, it's kind of like taking an X-ray of the Earth. It uses radar waves to create 3D images of what's beneath the surface. The cool thing is, it's non-invasive. So, no digging or disturbing the site.
So they're basically sending radar waves deep into the ground.
Right. And then they analyze how those waves bounce back. See, the waves change depending on what they encounter. So by studying those changes, they can build up a picture of the different layers, structures, even voids beneath the surface.
Okay, I think I'm following. So they use this fancy radar to see beneath the pyramid, and that's how they found this huge structure.
Exactly. And it's not just one big blob. The radar allegedly picked up structures going down 600 meters from the base of the pyramid. And guess what? These structures connect to even deeper formations that go down that incredible 2 kilometers.
Wow, 2 kilometers. Okay, my mind is officially blown. That's deeper than I don't even know what to compare it to.
It's deeper than any known structure built by the ancient Egyptians.
Yeah.
It raises so many questions. Who built this? And for what purpose?
Okay, so we have Beyond and his team armed with this high-tech radar claiming to have found a massive structure that goes incredibly deep. What else do they have to support these claims?
Well, they also mentioned using high-resolution radar images from a couple of satellite companies, Capella Space and Umbra. So we're talking about a combination of ground-based and satellite data.
So they're pulling data from multiple sources. That definitely adds weight to their findings. And with all that data, they were able to create a 3D model.
Yeah, and the model reportedly reveals a previously unknown chamber inside the pyramid itself. This chamber has 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof. Not your typical pyramid architecture.
5 levels, a sloping roof. Okay, now this is getting really interesting, but the real showstopper, if I remember correctly, is what lies even deeper, right?
Absolutely. The 3D model, based on the radar tomography, apparently shows vertical, cylindrical structures extending 648 meters down. There are 8 of these structures, arranged in 2 parallel rows. Just imagine that.
648 meters. That's like 3 times the height of the Statue of Liberty. What on earth could those be for?
It's a complete mystery. But it gets even weirder. At the base of these cylindrical structures, the model shows 2 massive cubic formations, each with an 80-meter diameter, connected by intricate spiral pathways. It's designed so complex, so unlike anything we've seen before in ancient Egyptian architecture.
Spiral pathways. It's like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. It makes you wonder what those pathways were used for. Was it some sort of ritualistic procession?
Perhaps. Or maybe it served a more practical purpose, like access for maintenance or ventilation. It's hard to even speculate at this point.
The more we delve into this, the more questions it raises. It's as if we're peeling back layers of an onion, but with every layer, we find more mysteries.
That's the beauty of it. It's a challenge to our understanding of history, to our preconceived notions of what ancient civilizations were capable of.
Speaking of challenges, let's address the elephant in the room. The controversy surrounding these claims, there's a lot of debate about the authenticity of these findings, right?
Absolutely. And the whole thing is shrouded in this fog of conflicting information. Some people are hailing it as the greatest discovery of the century, while others are calling it an elaborate hoax.
So where does the truth lie? What evidence do we have to go on?
Well, the initial claims seem to stem from a document called the Confray Project Document Abstract, dated March 16th. But here's the thing, even the legitimacy of this document is under scrutiny.
Really? So we don't even know if the basic source material is real. That's problematic, to say the least.
Right. It makes it very difficult to assess the validity of the claims. Some sources claim that the document is fake, a fabrication designed to mislead, while others insist that it's genuine, and the silence from mainstream archaeological institutions is simply a sign of their reluctance to embrace such groundbreaking findings.
It's like a tug of war between skepticism and belief. And adding to this intrigue are the whispers of censorship. What's the story there?
Well, there are reports of discussions about these subsurface structures being deleted on Reddit.
Reddit, the land of free speech. Why would they remove discussions about this, especially if it's all just a hoax?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense, unless, of course, there's something more to this story, something someone doesn't want us to know.
That's a bit unsettling. What about other platforms? Any signs of censorship there?
Yeah, actually. There was this widely shared post on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, by a user named Jay Anderson. Initially, there were community notes attached to this post, labeling the information as fake. But then, poof, those notes disappeared.
Vanished into thin air. That's more than a little suspicious.
It makes you wonder who's pulling the strings behind the scenes. Are they trying to control the narrative? To keep a lid on this information for some reason?
Okay, so we have censorship on Reddit and X, a mysterious document with questionable authenticity, and a lot of unanswered questions. But then there's this other post on X from an account called Project Unity.
I saw that one. It was posted on March 19th, just a few days after the initial Confray document surfaced.
And they were talking about groundbreaking findings at the Giza Pyramid complex, findings that could potentially rewrite human history.
It's almost like they're deliberately contradicting the censorship attempts.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, hey, this is real, and we're not going to let them bury it.
So we have these conflicting signals, censorship on one hand and bold proclamations on the other. It's enough to make your head spin.
It's a mess. A fascinating, confusing mess. But isn't that what makes this also intriguing? It's a puzzle waiting to be solved.
A puzzle with potentially earth-shattering implications. All this talk about hidden structures and advanced technology, it makes you wonder if maybe we've got the whole ancient Egypt story wrong.
Well, there have always been those who challenge the conventional narrative. They point to certain anomalies, certain inconsistencies that just don't quite add up.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Well, one of the key pieces of evidence often cited is the Serapeum at Saqqara. It's an underground complex that houses these massive, truly massive, boxes made of granite and other incredibly hard stones.
Boxes? What kind of boxes?
These aren't your average cardboard boxes. We're talking about boxes with lids that weigh over 100 tons. And they're not just big, they're incredibly precise. The tunnels carved into the bedrock are perfectly straight, and the boxes themselves fit together with an accuracy that defies explanation.
100-ton lids. That's insane. How could the ancient Egyptians have moved and manipulated such massive objects with such precision?
That's the million-dollar question. Some researchers, like Brian Forrester, argue that the level of engineering displayed at the Serapeum is simply beyond the capabilities of the dynastic Egyptians. They point to the lack of sufficient lighting and the limitations of the tools available at that time.
Okay, I see their point. It's one thing to carve a small statue with simple tools, but to create these massive boxes with such precision in new darkness, that's a whole different ballgame.
Right. And the sheer scale of the operation. Imagine trying to quarry, transport, and assemble these 100-ton blocks. It would have required a level of organization, logistics, and engineering knowledge that we simply don't associate with the Egyptians of that era.
So if the Egyptians didn't build it, then who did? And what were those boxes for anyway?
Well, one theory is that the Egyptians discovered these pre-existing structures and later tried to incorporate them into their own culture and belief systems.
So they found these boxes and they're like, what can we do with these?
Something like that. They added their own inscriptions and decorations, trying to claim ownership, so to speak. But here's the interesting part. The hieroglyphs and other Egyptian markings on these boxes often appear crude and simplistic compared to the precision of the boxes themselves.
So they could create these incredibly complex structures, but their own artwork was comparatively rudimentary. That is strange.
It is, and it lends weight to the theory that the Egyptians weren't the original builders. They inherited these sites, these advanced structures, and they tried to make them their own.
It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in plain sight. There's also the mystery of the block shafts within the Sphinx.
Oh, those shafts are a constant source of speculation. They hint at the possibility of hidden chambers or maybe even a larger network of underground tunnels.
So what's stopping us from exploring them? Why haven't we unblocked those shafts and seen what's behind them?
Well, there have been attempts, but they've mostly been met with obstacles, both logistical and, some say, deliberate. It's almost as if someone doesn't want us to know what's down there.
Okay, let's connect the dots here. We have these massive, unexplained structures beneath the Great Pyramid, the perplexing boxes at the Serapeum, blocked shafts in the Sphinx, and whispers of a hidden history. It's all starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist's dream.
I know, right? But here's where it gets even wilder.
hmm
Let's talk about the theory that the pyramids weren't tombs at all, but energy devices of some kind.
Energy devices. Okay, now you've officially crossed over into the realm of the bizarre.
I know, but hear me out. This theory has been gaining traction in recent years, and there are some intriguing pieces of evidence that support it.
I'm all ears. Let's see what you've got.
Well, first, you have to understand that the pyramids are not just piles of rocks. They're incredibly precise structures, aligned with specific astronomical events, and built with a level of mathematical and geometric knowledge that's mind-boggling.
Okay, I'll grant you that. The pyramids are architectural marvels. But how does that make them energy devices?
Well, proponents of this theory argue that the pyramids were designed to interact with the Earth's natural energy fields, perhaps even harnessing them for some unknown purpose.
Harnessing the Earth's energy, it sounds like something Nikola Tesla would have been interested in.
Exactly. Tesla was obsessed with the idea of harnessing the Earth's energy for the benefit of humanity. And some believe that the pyramids were a testament to that same ancient knowledge.
So you're saying that the ancient Egyptians, or whoever built the pyramids, had the same kind of knowledge that Tesla was pursuing centuries later.
It's a possibility, and it would explain why the pyramids contain all these blocked chambers and forbidden tunnels.
If they were power plants of some kind, wouldn't you want to restrict access to certain areas for safety reasons?
It makes sense, doesn't it? Especially if they were dealing with a form of energy that we still don't fully understand.
Okay, let's say, for argument's sake, that the pyramids were energy devices. What kind of energy are we talking about? And what were they using it for?
Well, that's where things get really speculative. There are various theories, some more outlandish than others. Some suggest that the pyramids were used to generate electricity, while others believe they were harnessing a more subtle form of energy, perhaps related to consciousness or spirituality.
Wow, this is getting deep. But you know what? Some of these more recent discoveries seem to lend credence to these seemingly crazy ideas.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there was that report in 2024 about a massive symmetrical structure found on the ocean floor near Catalina Island. And get this, there are pyramid-shaped mountains nearby.
Okay, that's interesting. A structure on the ocean floor. Could it be natural? Or is it evidence of an ancient submerged civilization?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's that bizarre report from the same year about China's super radar detecting plasma bubbles over the Giza pyramids and, hold on to your hats, the Midway Islands at the same time.
Plasma bubbles, that's a new one. Why those two locations? What could possibly link them?
It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, but it does suggest that there's something unusual happening, something that connects these seemingly unrelated locations. And it all circles back to the idea that the pyramids might be more than just tombs.
Right. And let's not forget Christopher Dunn and the Giza power plant theory.
Oh, yeah, Dunn. He's been championing this idea for decades. What's his theory in a nutshell?
Well, Dunn believes that the pyramids were designed to harness the energy of subterranean aquifers. He suggests that the flow of water created sound waves that resonated with the Earth's natural vibrations.
Okay, so the Earth's energy is the initial power source. Then what?
According to Dunn, the pyramid's unique shape and internal structure amplified and focused these sound waves. And he believes that the granite used in the king and queen's chambers, particularly the quartz crystals within the granite, played a key role in converting these sound waves into electricity.
The piezoelectric effect, right. Where certain materials generate electricity when subjected to pressure or vibration.
Precisely. And Dunn argues that the Queen's chamber was used to create hydrogen gas through a specific chemical reaction. This hydrogen gas would then flow into the Grand Gallery, further enhancing the piezoelectric effect and generating even more electricity.
So it's like a massive ancient machine powered by the Earth itself. It's a pretty wild idea, but there is some scientific evidence to support it.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, in 2018, a team of scientists conducted an experiment where they used radio waves to study how the Great Pyramid interacted with electromagnetic energy. And guess what? They found that the pyramid could concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and beneath its base, especially at specific resonant frequencies.
That's amazing. So it's not just Dunn's theory. There's actual scientific data to back up the idea that the pyramid interacts with electromagnetic energy in a unique way.
Exactly. And there's a 2019 paper by a researcher named Eric Wilson that explores the concept of a large-scale thermal acoustic generator that could use vibrations in rocks to generate electricity.
So Wilson's work provides a theoretical framework for how Dunn's power plant could have actually functioned. It's like these pieces of the puzzle were starting to fit together.
And let's not forget about Bion's claims of copper pipes and iron rods extending deep beneath the pyramid, potentially all the way down to those 2-kilometer deep structures.
That's right. And it's incredibly reminiscent of Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, which was built over an aquifer and used similar conductive elements to tap into the Earth's energy.
It's almost as if history is repeating itself. We're rediscovering these ancient technologies, these forgotten ways of harnessing the power of the Earth.
It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it also raises some uncomfortable questions. If these ancient civilizations were so advanced, what happened to them? And why have we lost this knowledge for so long?
Are we talking about some sort of ancient cataclysm? A deliberate suppression of knowledge?
Those are possibilities we have to consider. And if this knowledge is being suppressed today, why? Who benefits from keeping us in the dark?
It's a bit scary to think about, isn't it? But it's also incredibly exciting. Imagine the possibilities if we could rediscover these lost technologies, if we could tap into the Earth's energy in a clean and sustainable way.
It would be a game changer. It could revolutionize our energy grid, our entire way of life.
It's a future worth fighting for. But we have to be careful, too. This kind of knowledge can be dangerous in the wrong hands. We have to make sure that it's used for the benefit of all humanity, not just a select few.
I agree. We have a responsibility to learn from the past, to understand the mistakes that were made, and to ensure that we don't repeat them.
Well, folks, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of the Great Pyramid's hidden secrets, the controversies, the theories, and the tantalizing possibilities.
It's a lot to take in, I know. But isn't that what makes this all so fascinating? It challenges us to think outside the box, to question everything we thought we knew.
Exactly. And it reminds us that the truth is often stranger than fiction. Who knows what other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered, what other secrets lie buried beneath the sands of time.
The journey of discovery never ends. There's always more to learn, more to explore.
That's why we do what we do here at The Lonely Star. We dig deep, we ask the tough questions, and we never stop searching for the truth.
So join us next time as we continue our exploration into the unknown. Who knows what we'll uncover next?
Until then, keep your minds open, your curiosity alive, and remember,
The truth is stranger than fiction.